This video is going to talk about a couple of different strategies to prepare for your presentation. The first thing we're going to look at is how to be descriptive. The second thing are cause and effect. Third thing is going to be compare and contrast. Being able to use words effectively to put thoughts, images, feelings in your audience's head is one of the most important things you can do in almost any presentation. After you have done research and you got your information, you want to think about how do you want the audience to feel. Adjectives play an important role in this. They give life to your presentation. The different adjectives you use can give a very different feeling to your audience. Now, if my purpose is to try to sell you a vacation, and I tell you, well, this is a nice vacation, I'm not really selling the vacation. I need to use words that are going to incite more emotion or feeling in you. So maybe I'll say, this is an amazing vacation, or a fantastic vacation, or you gotta try this awesome vacation. These words have a lot more feeling to them than just a nice vacation. Maybe you want to know what my fake girlfriend looks like. So maybe I could describe her something like this. My girlfriend has a soft, gentle smile. Her brown eyes are huge and bright. She has silky smooth skin and golden hair like an angel. Well, if I gave you this description with these adjectives, you can see that I really love my girlfriend. Now let's pretend it's 6 months later and, well, I broke up with my girlfriend. I'm going to want to change some of the adjectives maybe that described her last time. Now if you ask me, what does your ex-girlfriend look like? Well, my ex-girlfriend has a stupid smile. Her evil eyes are small and mean. She has squishy, oily skin and dirty hair like a homeless person. Now, when you look at this example, by changing the adjectives, you have a very different feeling of who this person is. Sometimes it's really difficult to think of different adjectives. So for example, if I can just think of the word big, but I don't want to use the word big. I want something that has a little more power in it. Well, what I could do is use a thesaurus. If you go to thesaurus.com and then you type in the word big, well, you get a whole list of different words that are similar to the word big, like colossal or enormous, gigantic, immense, massive. All of these words have similar meaning to big, but they might serve your purpose more in terms of how you want the audience to feel. Okay, so we talked about how adjectives are really important for painting a picture for your audience. Now let's go ahead and move on to cause and effect. I think most of us have a pretty good understanding of basically what cause and effect is. It's the relationship between one idea or event and other ideas and events. But cause and effect is great for critical thinking. For example, causes. We have this problem now, but why do we have this problem? What caused this problem? Or effect. If we want something to change in the future and we set up some type of policy or make some change now, how is that going to affect the future? If we want to figure out what the causes are, then we have to understand the past to know what's happening now. So we can ask the questions why. For example, if we have a government policy, why is this policy not working? Or why is it working? We can ask, for example, a war. There's a war here, but why is there a war? Or why do some people or some countries feel the way they do about a certain topic? It's always trying to figure out what has happened before that has caused what is happening now. So basically, effects are the results of causes. However, many times in presentations, when we focus on effect, it's focusing on something in the future. So for example, how AI is going to affect our lives in the future, or global warming in the future, or maybe I'm working for the government and I'm looking at this new policy and how this new policy is going to affect people in the future. Okay, we talked about cause and effect. Let's go ahead and talk about compare and contrast now. One thing you want to remember when you do compare and contrast is you want the two things that you're comparing and contrasting to have some similarities and some differences. So if we take something like cat and an elephant, well, those two animals are pretty different. Maybe a better compare and contrast would be like cricket and baseball, or electric guitar versus acoustic guitar. These things have some things that are similar and yet some things that are different. With compare and contrast, one of the most important things is our purpose. What is our purpose? Is our purpose to focus on the similarities of two things, or is our focus to focus on the difference? It depends what your purpose is. For example, if I believe that North and South Korea should reunite, I might say, well, there are some differences between North and South Korea, obviously. However, look at all these similarities. Because of these similarities, I feel that we should unite. Or I can focus on the differences. I can say that North and South Korea should never reunite, even though they share some of the same culture and some language and food. However, there's too many differences, and these countries should never reunite. So I have to think about what is my purpose with compare and contrast before I can start my presentation. Now there's different ways that you can do compare and contrast, but for this class we're just going to focus on the point-by-point method. What this method means is you take 3 different points, so you focus on point 1, point 2, and point 3, and then you want to show the similarities and differences of each point. So for example, if I'm doing baseball and cricket, maybe the first thing I'm going to compare and contrast are the balls. Maybe the second thing I'm going to compare and contrast are the bats. And maybe the last thing I'm going to compare and contrast are the helmets that the batters use. Now again, I have to decide what is my purpose. Usually in compare and contrast, we kind of show differences. So here I might talk about similarities first and then the differences for each part. However, if maybe my focus is to show how these two sports are similar, I can switch it around. I can say these things are different, however, look at all these similarities. Again, it must be clear to yourself what your purpose is before you start your presentation.